Hi, it's Blitz! Welcome to a video by the Entropy System. For those of you who don't know, I'm a fictive. What is a fictive? Being a fictive just means that when I was created, the brain used an existing fictional character as a blueprint. And my blueprint just happens to be Blitz from Hell of a Boss, that YouTube show that you've heard a lot of people say they don't like on Twitter. And there's, a lot of misunderstanding online about fictives and their legitimacy and how they are or are not different from other alters in the system. If you have a fictive, that means you're faking. Or if you have too many fictives, which what does that even mean? That means you don't have the ID, you're just role-playing your favorite characters. People seem to have this idea that having fictives in your system is like just a game of make-believe. And as much as that goes for like fictional characters, factives, which are the same thing but the blueprint is like a real person out in the real world, those get even more hate because people are like, don't pretend to be a real person. The stigma abounds. So really, what does it mean to be a fictive? That you were created with a blueprint. Literally, that's it. The fictives are no different than any other alter in any system. When a system is going through trauma or extreme prolonged stress, and the brain says, hey, we need someone to be able to fix this, the brain creates someone with personality traits that will get a specific job done. Sometimes the subconscious makes it up from scratch. Sometimes, especially if you're like us and become super obsessive over a TV show because life is stressful and we don't know how to cope without escapism, the brain's like, oh, I can work with this, and picks one to use a blueprint. We have 3 fictives in our system right now, all of which are from cringe-ass media, because that is what Win clings to when things are bad. We had another fictive in the past. He fused like years ago. And then we also had alters that weren't fictives, but again, because Win gets really intense into movies and TV shows as forms of escapism and comfort, we've had alters who will change their physical appearance to look like they are from whatever the comfort media of choice is. But circling back around to the answer, fictives are just the same as any other alter. I am not special because I had a blueprint. In fact, it's a little bit lazy because just about everybody else has their own unique appearance and I'm just a walking talking copyright infringement. How similar are fictives to their source? I mean, it varies. I'd say I'm not very similar at all. Outside of appearance and some just very, very basic associations when it comes to personality, I'm kind of obnoxious. Source Blitz is kind of obnoxious. That's about as far as it goes. Our other 2 fictives, Ed and Oz, see themselves as connected to their source characters as a headcanon fandom version of a character is connected to their source. Meaning, basically not at all, but you can see the strings. Leto was so connected to his source that he had false memories, which is a whole thing. I have noticed that the more fictives our brain creates, the further and further we feel as far as attachment to the source goes. Leto longed for the companionship of the characters in the show. He had fake childhood memories of a mother that you never even meet in the show, I don't think. Our brain was just like, yep, memories for you. You need to be this character. And that just made him miserable all the time, because he felt attached to people that weren't real and a past that didn't happen. And turns out that solves no problems and only creates them. So when Ed and Oz were formed, they did not feel like they should belong in a TV show. They just felt like rewritten versions of characters just in the real world. They felt connected to the characters, but they fully felt cemented here in the real world. They knew they belonged here. There was no question to that. And me, I just have an affection for my source. I think the false memory aspect is really kind of interesting though. Why would the brain do that? I mean, there's a number of reasons. It could be that a character either went through a trauma that the system can really relate to, or had a very opposite experience, had no trauma, or never experienced a trauma that the system experienced, and so the brain's like, ooh, I super relate to that, or ooh, escapism. Really, I think it just comes down to dissociation on top of dissociation. Having another alter at all is a level of dissociation, and the brain's just keep that on there, just keep it on, just get dissociated from reality as much as possible. You belong in a TV show, here are your false memories, and it feels really real for the alter, but part of healing from that is accepting that that's not a real thing, and, you know, drawing the parallels to why the brain might have created you this way, and becoming an independent individual, which for some, like I've seen online, there's fictives that will change their name, change their appearance, really separate from the source. Me, I don't care. I see no issue with my source or my appearance, so I'm just gonna continue to be me. I like my name. I'd say I feel attached to Blitz the same way Wynn feels attached from Vi from Arcane. Wynn got this haircut and dyed their hair pink for years because they were like, I love Vi! I want to be just like Vi! I guess it's even looser than that, because I will say I do not want to be just like Source Blitz. Boy is messed up in the head. He's got a lot of toxic traits to work through, and I am super glad I do not have those. Maybe I could say that I feel the same connection to Blitz as like a cosplayer in costume feels a connection to their character. Like there's like a sense of like feeling cool because you're like super connected to this character you feel an emotional attachment to, but there's not like the thought of like, oh, I am this person. Am I making any sense at all? At all. Anyway, even if fictives have like a super intense connection to their source and false memories and stuff like that doesn't make it cringe. Like, that's what the brain thought it needed to get through stuff. Fictives are literally no different than any other alter. Like, it's just as cringe as us having a perpetually 19-year-old boy who wears hoodies all the time and is like classic skater dude persona. Brain's gonna do what the brain thinks it needs to do to get by. Oh, and one last thing before I forget, this isn't necessarily about being a fictive, more like how people react to fictives, and I've only ever seen this online. I have never encountered this IRL. This is, I think, exclusively an online thing. But there are people, you know, there's the one camp that's like, ew, gross, fictives, and then there's the other camp that's like, oh my god, you're my comfort character. Let me talk to you like you are actually the character. And, you know, or like, oh my god, I can't believe you were created from a villain. Because there are systems that have like Joker fictives and, you know, stuff like that. And they're like, oh, you're just an evil, terrible person, and how could you possibly be a fictive of a villain without being a terrible person, whatever. Just like, you know, we need to realize we're not our source, but like some people online need to realize we're not our source either. And treating us that way is weird. It's weird. It's weird and uncomfortable, and really just is invalidating the right word? Is infantilizing the right word? I don't know. It's uncomfy. I don't, even thinking about it, I don't like it. Like, it's one thing, like, I have friends who have watched the show and they'll like make little like tongue-in-cheek references or jokes about it. And that's fine because A, I know them, and B, like, they're not treating me like I am like a fictional character come to life. But like, hey, if you're talking to someone and they're like, hey, I'm a fictive of XYZ, and you have the thought of like, oh, I'm gonna treat this like I'm role-playing talking to my comfort character, like, you know, like those little AI chats that you can like talk to them and then they'll come back in character and whatever. Yeah, if you're feeling like doing that with a DID system, don't do that. That's weird. That's weird and uncomfortable and makes all of us feel bad. Don't do it. That's basically all I have to say on this topic. I hope that this made at least somebody think about fictives differently. And if not, well, I did my best. And for everyone who's still watching this right now, hey, you're cool! Thanks for being cool. Give us a like and stuff. Think about joining our Patreon. Look, not this side, look. Patrons! And an extra special thank you to Sarah G, Sarah Beers, and Will Mitchell. That could be you! We do cool stuff, like exclusive videos, and you get to vote on the topic of, and we do monthly Zoom calls, we have a Discord, you know, fun stuff. Consider joining. We'd love to see you. And to each and every single one of you, I hope you all remember that you are loved, you are valuable, you are valid, and have a good day. Bye.